All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our LinkedIn Live on mastering B2B lead generation. This is going to be short. It's going to be 20 minutes. We're not going any longer than that. Really excited to have everyone here. So let's just get the energy up. We get moving, and we'll see how it goes. I am going to show you very quickly. All right, so if you can put into the comment sections what country you're in. Maybe I am located here in Geneva, Switzerland, originally from the United States. So it'd be really cool to understand where people are at. I think lead generation is something that is obviously universal. Everyone needs leads, but also there's also just real camaraderie, like from like what happens in every country. So all right, so if you put in where you're from in the comment section, as I see them come in, I will talk about them. But again, we're going to go fast. So last time, so just went on vacation, just came back, and last time I did a cool, Ralph, nice, Switzerland. So last time I did 8 principles about what it takes to improve your lead generation system, but it was very high level and gave lots of different ideas, but we didn't really go into clear suggestions. Now, I did talk a little bit about some of the success stories I've had before with helping different companies by different percentages, but I don't want to go into that. What I want to do is actually go into a specific scenario, because after our last conversation, I had someone had contacted me. In fact, you can too. You can just use the QR code and try to set up a 30-minute appointment to discuss your business issue. No problem. But they contacted me. They're not really my ideal customer. I will explain that in just a minute. But they are a B2B scenario. And but this probably is not your specific industry necessarily, but I'm going to tell you that the principles that I'm going to show you here can be used in nearly every B2B situation. Okay, so just strap in. You can ask questions. Please do not have any hesitation with asking questions. We'll answer them at the very end. But I'm just going to go through this scenario quickly so you understand. So what happened was, again, the guy called, we sat down, and again, just a few minutes in, I understood that it wasn't really my ideal client, but I told him, I've got you on the phone. I've got 15 minutes with you here. How about I just help you put together the principles of what you need to really drive and change your lead generation or improve your lead gen system. So let me just go through the scenario very quickly so you understand. So this company actually connects, and I won't use their name. They help connect like host families to pre-qualified like exchange students who have money to pay, right? Like, so exchange students are coming from another country to theirs, and they had these people have money. The students are already qualified. They're ready to spend whatever amount. And these families, and the company is looking for host families, and that's how they get paid. They get a percentage of that student's spend. And so he went through his numbers. He told me, he runs Facebook ads to get leads in the door. Its cost per lead is €3. 12% of the leads become host families. 40%, you might not be able to see this, so I'm going to remove the background slightly. So 12% of the host families become 12% of the leads become host families. 40% of the leads drop off after the first call, and the company struggles to sign up new families and to deal with a manual system based on the number of leads that come in. Okay, and so their goal was to both drive higher conversions and save time, because they were doing everything manually, right? And they wanted to do this, and they had just implemented a fully automated email system. So I'm going to show you this in kind of like a diagram form so you understand what they were doing. So again, let's say they have 100 Facebook leads come in. 60 of those calls, 60 of those turned into a qualification call. And then they called acclimation. They would do after that. He didn't know the numbers there. And then they would do post orientation. And then finally that person would become a client. So 12 of those became clients. And I said, okay. And what they did is then they automated everything. He automated, so they created a pre-qualification email series. Never talked to him on the phone. An acclimation email series. A host orientation registration that they had to do before they talk to someone. And he doesn't know what's going to happen and how those people will become host families. So I said, all right. So I want to mention this because, again, they wanted to start with this email and text follow-up process that really automates it. But remember, he wants to save time and increase conversions. And so what I want to do is just take a kind of a step back and go to the original, or I should say, I want to go to how should I put it? I'm going to go back to their original manual scenario and then say, what would I do? Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk you through the entire things that you need to do before you start, and then some key step-by-steps for how to think through it. Okay, and this is what I did with him. It took you 15 minutes to help lead him through exactly how he needed to think about his lead generation system. So I'm going to do that for you. Hopefully this is really important. This is really helps you as you start to improve and optimize your system as well. So again, this is a really step-by-step approach, but we're going to go into that in a little bit later. So the first thing to understand really is that lead gen is truly a part of the entire system. So he only told me about the Facebook leads that he got, but you have to understand, like, those contacts and those sources come from somewhere. And then he never talked about the returning families or those return clients and any referrals. Is that part of his system? Because remember, that was key number one that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so now I want to go through the things that you need to do before you even start. So the first thing to do before you even start is I tell people what you need to do is you need to understand your numbers. This guy did a great job understanding his numbers. He understood that for every 100 leads, that 100 Facebook leads that came in, and that 12 of them came. That's great. He knew that 60 of them were at the 60 of them were dropped off on the pre-qualification call. All right. So he started with the basics. He didn't know all the numbers in between, but at least knew something basic, and that was good, because you can't really move forward unless you know your numbers. You have no basis or no baseline to change from. Okay. So first, start there. You must understand your current numbers. All right. The second thing to do is to understand your primary goal. So this is a scenario where a lot of times people put their emotional goal or their secondary goal ahead of their first. Now, with the scenario he gave me, he only was spending €3 per lead. So technically, and he was converting 12% of those. It's not expensive. So he could have just ramped up his advertising, spent more on advertising, and got more numbers in, but he was doing it manually. But instead, what he did is he decided that what he was going to do was actually change the manage the time component. He wasn't going so this is where I want to say he needed to understand, was he actually trying to just save time? Is that primary? Or was he trying to convert more families to become host families? Okay. And we figured out that obviously what he really wanted was host families, but he didn't want to spend a lot of extra time doing it. Again, so primary was host families, secondary was saving time. And so now we can build the system around that, but you can't build a system if you do time first. And I explained this to him. I said, you have a threat of actually killing your entire pipeline. Right now, 12% of all your leads become become host families. But in reality, like, there's a reason why people buy. And you need to go into that. So I'm going to explain that. And so you need to understand who that's number 3. Before you even start changing anything, you better understand who your ideal client is. Once you understand who they are, like, what is the profile of that person? How much do they make? For his scenario, it could be, do they have an extra bedroom? Is their place clean, or can they deal with preparing meals once a week or something like that, right? Like, he needed to know what that ideal client was. And then lastly, he needs to understand why his ideal client buys. Like, why do they actually sign up? It's not just to make money, because lots of people would do that if it was just to make money. There's something about the way that his system that allows those 100 leads to turn into 12. And what I was trying to explain to him is that with him automating everything, he could actually kill his entire productivity, because I would almost guarantee you that one of the reasons why his people buy is because they feel that they create that personal connection. And again, many times, and this is just where I want to go, is that many times people they think, AI is great, and it is fantastic. I use it. They think email and automation is great. It's fantastic, but they actually leave out the human component. And so this is all, it doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C or whatever it is, it's H to H. It's human to human, right? So you don't want to kill that in your attempt to solve the problem. So understand your current numbers, know what your primary goal is, and then your secondary after that. Understand who your ideal customer profile is, what it looks like, and then lastly is, why does that person buy? Before you start doing anything, don't change. Now we go step by step. And so if we took his actual his profile, and we looked here and we said, okay, we're going to start from the very beginning of his process, and we're going to say something like this. Again, we're going to go step by step. So we would say, number 1, like, how do I connect? How do I make it easier to connect with the ideal customer profile? So this is why I was talking about, this is actually part of a larger system, and not a part of just, you're not just trying to get Facebook leads. Like, if you just started with Facebook leads, that would be a problem. What I wanted him to do was think about, maybe what he needs to do is actually tune his Facebook lead to speak more to the real person that he wants. Because as you can see, 40% of people fall off before they even get to a phone call. So could he make it easier, and better to connect to that ideal customer profile in the Facebook lead? So step by step, he just wants to understand this. Okay. And then secondly, so how do you actually find those people? So he could be looking in the wrong place. He could be looking at the wrong demographic. He needs to actually figure out where those people are. Those could be in community groups. They could be, high-income professionals or mid-income professionals, whatever. They could be church groups or social groups, whatever. He needs to figure out where those people can come from and optimize that and optimize the message for them. The second thing is to understand how do you quickly pre-qualify them, right? So instead of him, just pre-qualifying in a qualification call, why not make sure that the Facebook ad actually pre-qualifies people? And how do you confirm that qualification in the qualification call? So what I would do is I would actually first understand that all of the hard work is right here. It's all in the very beginning. It's to get the lead in the door and the pre-qualification, because if you do that right, everything else is just administrative. Really, it's about making sure you identify that right person immediately. So first, how do you make it easier to connect with the customer profile, the ideal customer profile? Two is how do you quickly help them pre-qualify themselves, right? And so you should ask that for your business as well. The third is how do you create a connection with the person who then identifies themselves, right? So as I was saying, do you want to create a system where it's just fully automated, or do you want to make that host family part of a community? I think there's a benefit to actually picking up the phone. It is more effective to pick up the phone than it is just to do email automation all the time, right? And so you can pre-qualify through email or through your automated process, but then you need to create a human-to-human connection. And you need to keep that connection, because that is going to help drive people through the system. And then it's going to actually help you create more referrals for the very end as well. So don't lose the human connection in your legion part. The fourth is say, how do I then in every step make a smooth process to keep them engaged and focus on the reason why they should buy, right? So this is what I was saying before you start. You need to understand why these clients are buying from you to begin with. And you need to make sure you reinforce that into every step of the process. It should be in your ad. It should be in your pre-qualification call. It should be in your acclimation call. It should be in your orientation. Everything should just say why, it should re-engage, like why that person really wants to buy from you or should buy from you. You should just keep reinforcing it constantly. Okay. And then the last is, how do I engage with my clients so that I can create referrals? Again, you want to make sure that you keep connected to that person. You don't want such an automated system that then people don't want to refer people to them, because I think it would actually be easier for him. And we all know this. It's much easier to close a referral than it is to find a new client. So that's really the next step, is really making sure that we really engage with the current clients to make sure that they create referrals. So those are the steps of the process. I said, what do you do before you even start? Don't start changing anything. Make sure you understand it. Make sure you understand these 5 steps. How do you connect easier? How do you help them pre-qualify themselves? How do you help them? How do you create real connection at each step? How do you reinforce the reasons why someone buys at every step? And then lastly, how do you help your client actually create a referral for your business? That is really the most important. I didn't have some pre-prepared questions, but I figured that if you have any questions, I am more than welcome to answer them. But we're close to our 20 minutes, so I also want to respect everyone's time as well. So if there's any questions, I'll answer them. If not, you are free to also contact me, and I'll show you how you can. You could hit on the if you hit on the clicked on the QR code, if you like help with lead generation, maybe redesigning yours, maybe us running your lead gen system for you, or doing training, we're more than welcome to do that. You can just click the QR code or reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we'll get you set up and get a conversation going. So if there aren't any questions, thank you very much. We're at our 20 minutes, and have a great day, everybody.